My name is Jessica Lafreniere. This is my reflection video for Chinua Achebe's Dead Man's Path. So my reflection focused on the impact and the aftermath that colonization had on this native culture, and how it related to Nigeria in the 1950s, which is when this story was published, and the country that this author was originally from. So at the start of the story, it appears that Michael Obi has good intentions. He's talking about renovating the gardens of the school and modernizing it with his wife, but we can quickly see that modernizing has a different meaning than just making renovations for Michael. We see that Michael is disapproving of the native culture very early on, starting with his decision to close the footpath between the shrine and the gravesite that the other headmasters had left open on the school property, because they said it was rarely used by the locals. So it wasn't really like a danger or a nuisance to the school, and Michael closes it on the grounds of safety, even though that has never been a concern in the past. So this was my first time reading this story, and I didn't have very much background information of what was happening in Africa as a whole, or just in Nigeria in the 1950s. So I referenced the Encyclopedia Britannica on the subject of this, and what I found was during the 1940s, young Nigerians were forming anti-colonial groups and attempting to gain back some representation and control within their government. And by 1951, British colonials were creating House of Representatives and putting in a new constitution forth to give more voice to the native Nigerians, but this was not the true independence that they were hoping for. So there was a lot of civil unrest happening in the 1950s, and this story was published in 1949, so right at the cusp of all this unrest. And we can see this in the story. The headmaster's selfishness of making the decision not to close the path ultimately ended in the school grounds being destroyed, and the exact opposite effect that Michael was hoping for, which was a positive view from the school board.